I think it was in 1971. I was newly married and I was into a lot of different crafts at the time and looking for something relatively cheap and could use up the scraps for what I'd made, and I did a lot of sewing. I made most of my clothes at the time. So I wanted to use up my scraps. At the time, that was what most people seem to start with, is let's use up this stuff. So my first quilt was made with all sorts of dressmaking scraps and a sheet. I cut up a sheet for the background things, the sashing. So you've got the top of the quilt, okay, that you've pieced or appliqued or whatever. You have a batting and you have a backing. The backing is usually a plain piece of fabric or maybe one with a pattern, but it's not usually pieced on the back. It's usually just one big piece of fabric on a table or on the floor. Then you take the batting and smooth it out over top of that backing. And then you take the top that you've pieced or appliqued and lay it right side up on top of the batting. So now you've got a sandwich. Both outside pieces of bread are showing the right side of that fabric. Mostly self-taught, and I got a book with some patterns in it, and I just copied the pattern and went from there. My quilting started with piecework, with blocks that you put the pieces together, front side to front side, and sew a little seam, and then you go from there. Mostly geometric type things at the time. Over the years, it's changed a lot. I no longer use dressmaking scraps at all. I use cottons and various embroidery threads and special threads and things like that, because I've changed from mostly piecework to applique work, which lends itself to vines and flowers and butterflies and things like that. I do almost all hand quilting, so it's basically just a running stitch, just an in and out stitch to hold blocks together, and a blind stitch to stitch down applique pieces, unless I'm doing something like wool where I'll do like a blanket stitch or some fancy embroidery stitch on it. I take inspiration from other quilters, often from old ones. Sometimes it's a modern pattern that I alter. Since I make a lot of detailed applique, I have a cupboard that's probably 6 feet by 6 feet and about 10 inches deep of fabrics sorted by color. But they're my paint palette. Okay, I need that palette in order to create. It's the creativity, it's relaxing, it takes my mind off of any other stuff that's going on, and it's the satisfaction of making something, creating something new. Creating something no matter what, whether it's glass or training a horse or quilting, feeds our souls.